Welcome to Maker Conversations. I'm your host, Tiff Marchand from NIGHTCARVER Designs, and I've got an exciting show for you. I have a very, very talented artist. Her name is Kiera, and she is from Summer Orchid Crafts, and she just makes some beautiful pieces. She's always experimenting with different colors, and I've just really admired her. We've been following each other for quite a few years, and we've never had the chance to really just kind of sit down and chat. So this was a real pleasure. It was great to really just kind of dive in and get to know her. I've been a fan for so long. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. A huge thank you to the sponsor of the show, Sabertooth Power Carving. You guys can use NIGHTCARVER 10 to save 10% on every purchase there. And there is a Black Friday sale coming up. And every month they do a 25% off coupon. So make sure you sign up for their newsletter. We're going to be doing a really fun challenge. It starts December 1st, ends on the 17th, and it is going to be whatever kind of medium you want. I can't share the theme with you yet. I really, really want to, but it's going to be a short contest, a really fun contest, and it's a power carving contest. So use that code, watch out for this Sabertooth Black Friday sale, and get yourself some good tools to have some fun. You only need a few to make a cool project. So I'm just really excited about that. And I also have another code I want to share with you. If you use a NIGHTCARVER at checkout for your Workench Con ticket, you're going to save $50. So I hope you enjoy those two discounts there. And I'm going to go ahead now and stop talking and let's get on with the show.
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Going good. How are you?
Doing good. I'm doing good. Can't complain.
Where are we in your house?
We are in my wife's office. So this is where everything is set up computer-wise upstairs.
She takes care of it. She's like, there you go. That's the setup.
Yes, like this is her place. The shop is my place. This is her place.
I tell this to my husband all the time. It's so important to have your own little escape. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. And when we first moved into this house, she was just kind of like bouncing around in different areas. But she was like, you know what? No, I need my own space. And I said, we got an extra bedroom, so why not?
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it. I like how she has it decorated too. It's really peaceful, like a nice spot.
I come up here sometimes to escape. I'm like, look, I don't want to be in the shop anymore. Let me come up here.
It's one of those things is like we pick the messiest hobbies, right? That turn into our livelihood. It's like sometimes office days are nice for the one reason of the I'm clean.
Right, exactly.
I feel good today. My hair still looks nice. You know, like on a shop day, I look like I've just gone through hell. By the end of the day, my hair has completely frizzed out and is now like over here now. It's like, like you worked hard today. You've earned this hair.
I've had paint all over my fingers. Like, yeah, I get it. I totally understand.
I've got to the point where I don't mind it. Like, I'm just like, it's part of me.
Man, and sometimes I'm like, I have to remind myself constantly to wear my gloves, especially when I'm doing like the splatter paint. Because when you do splatter paint, you know, it gets just all on your fingers. I'm like, wear the gloves. Because then I'm in the kitchen scrubbing with the dish soap. Like, come on, get out. Yeah.
Yep. I'm sure everybody listening to this understands. They understand. They get it. It's just one of those things. It's so worth it. But yeah. Or when you ruin all the laundry because there's just sawdust on all your stuff and you didn't shake it out enough. And then your partner gets pissed at you.
And then I have this blower tool. And so I try to like blow off it just never worked.
No. It's awesome. You've been doing this full time for a little bit now, right? Or
so I quit summer. Oh gosh, what year is this? This is 2023.
This is 2023.
Time moves by so fast. 2021 was my last year teaching.
Oh, okay.
And so it's definitely been a journey.
Yeah.
So last year, I made my first full year as not being a teacher, and I was teaching for 9 years. So that's been an adjustment. And I've been in education my whole life. Like my mom was an educator. And so she worked with a program called Head Start. And so I'd always volunteer with Head Start as a teenager. And then I worked in daycare centers as well. So kids have always been like
Look at you.
foundation. And so this has definitely been an adjustment, not being around them. It's like, whoa, wait, no kids at all. What was this?
It's
So
probably
now
peaceful. I was just saying, it's just probably
Yeah.
peaceful though. No offense. I have 7-year-old kids, like, but it's so nice when they're at karate. Like they're at karate right now, and it's so quiet. They'll be home soon, and I'll be hearing like boom, 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 boom as I go. But those little moments, it's just like, ah.
Yeah. And I had that my first full year after I quit, I was like, yes, this is like it. This is like it. But then I started tutoring one of my friend's kids. And I was just like, okay, I kind of miss kids, but I do not miss the education world like at all whatsoever. And so now I'm like, how can I still work with kids, but not being obligated to teach them anything? So that's what I'm currently trying to figure that out.
I feel like with what you're making right now, you're inspiring a lot of young kids and a lot of brown young girls too out there, which I freaking love. I told you, like, I talked to Shar from Wood and Maven about this stuff all the time. And I know as I was scrolling your reels, you're not afraid to like call it out there. Like, where's my brown makers at? Like, was one of your posts. And I was like, but seriously, like, where are we? Like, let's see this. Let's get this stuff going so we can share those kind of things. And I love that you just like said it and just call it out. And that's how you are with everything.
Yeah, I have to. Like I've attended a Black Girl Art Show. I've done that 3 times now. And every single time there's always a Black or brown girl coming up to me and like, wow, you did this. This is amazing. And my last show that I did back in May of this year, this dad came with his teenage daughter. And you know how teenagers are, they don't want you telling their business, but I brought you here because you love art and I want you to see what other people are doing. And she's like, oh, Dad, God.
But in reality, she's like, this is kind of cool.
Right.
I can't let them know this, but it's cool.
So I stood next to her. Dad was over here. So I stood on the other side of her. I said, look, I know you do not want your daddy telling everybody that you're an artist. I get it. I said, but you can do this. Like I said, are you interested in woodworking? And she was like, yeah, I think it's pretty cool. And I said, well, you can do it. I said, I just started. I didn't know any of this stuff. I said, no one taught me how to use tools. I just did it. And I said, and now look at where I'm at now. I said, I still have a lot more to go, but look at where I'm at now. She was like, yeah. I said, so look, I know dads can be embarrassing. I get it. You got this. You can do this. And she was like, okay. And then dad, he's standing and listening to the whole conversation.
Smiling.
Like, right. He's, thank you. I was like,
this is the breakthrough she needed. That's so great, though. That's so fulfilling. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it is. Like this one little girl, she's been at 2 of the shows that I have. And the first time she saw me, she saw one of my pieces that looked exactly like her, which was so bizarre. And then the second show, she stopped, she was walking past my booth and she said, wait, I remember you. And I was like, I remember you too. She said, oh, you're the person that made that piece that looked just like me. And I was like, yeah, you remember that. And she was looking for it. I said, I don't have it today. She said, okay. But just having those interactions with them is truly inspiring. I'm like, okay, Kiera, like you have to keep going because they're here, they're watching, and they don't see people that look like them in this field often. So you just got to keep going.
I love it. Yeah. And I like that you're trying to like bridge that transition of like not being around kids, but like you said, not trying to be in there teaching them every day, but maybe inspiring them or maybe doing like some small sessions once in a while where it kind of breaks it up a little bit. But how did you like teach yourself get into tools? Like what made you go and get in the shop and try those things?
Great question. So I've always been a creator, but I've never like was taught art, and art has always been kind of like my love, but no one's ever taught it. I grew up in a very small town where we had 1 high school, 1 middle school. It was 2 elementary schools.
Wow, really small town.
Yes, yeah. And so art was an elective, but only a certain amount of kids could be put into art. And I never got selected, and just devastated, right?
Man, that's horrible. Yeah.
Awful. So when I moved on to college, I said, you know what, let me just try to do different things. So I was just trying a whole bunch of different things. My very first tool that I bought was a sander. And
it's an important tool though. It's
right. And I was refurbishing a table. I still have that table too. And that was my very first introduction. But then I just stopped altogether. And when I moved to that was in Florida. And when I moved to Georgia, I wanted to make us a TV stand. And so I made the TV stand. I said, you know what? I really want to make art. So I was scrolling on Pinterest one day, and I'll never forget, I saw this really cute llama. I'm pretty sure this person a laser. Looking back, I'm like, that looks like, you know how you can just tell from a laser.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure they had a laser, but I was like, I want to make that. And so I Googled what tools needed to be made. And I talked to my wife, and I was like, hey, I'm going to try this new thing. And the scroll saw, I bought the 10-inch Win scroll saw.
Yep.
Worst scroll saw I've ever had.
I've seen them around. I've never tried one, but I've seen those as options for people to start. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm glad that I bought it when I did, because it gave me the opportunity to just learn the tool. But actually using it for what I do now, it just never would have worked. But I bought it, and I was sitting on the floor in my living room, and it was just bouncing around. I had no idea what I was doing. My first
it's upside down.
You're right. It was awful. My first letter, I think it was a letter E. Yeah, because it was like really wonky. And it was the blades, the pen blades.
Yes.
And so no, you can't really like interchange it like that. It was hard.
I started off with that too. I had a rusty old mine thing was like an old Craftsman, I think. Big, like it was this little tiny metal one, and pins, and yeah, exactly. I decided to go for like the DeWalt after I, saw everybody like actually really getting into scroll sawing. I'm like, ooh,
right.
Sorry, not to interrupt, but yeah, I know that feeling of the pins.
It was awful, absolutely awful. But then I quit. I just stopped, and I was like, you know what? I can't do this. Let me just find something else to do. But 6 months later, COVID happened. And when COVID happened, we went to virtual teaching, which was a hot mess. But it happened. And so I said, you know what? During these breaks, I'm just gonna go on the scroll saw and just see what happens. And then I haven't stopped since then. So that's how I started. Yeah.
I love that though. Like you immediately switched to art. I like that story. Like I built two things, and then I was like, let's make some art now.
Yeah, that's basically what it was, because I knew that I couldn't avoid that deep down. And I'm like, back in high school, I know no one ever taught you how to do art. And, growing up, we didn't have social media. We didn't have YouTube.
Right,
so
exactly. If your parents weren't doing it, you weren't doing it.
Exactly.
Or anyone in your immediate circle.
Exactly. And so no one was like, okay, this is how you draw an eye. This is how you draw. Nobody. So unless you had art in school. And I'm like, I know that didn't happen for you then. I said, but now there's so many different avenues where you can learn how to do it. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to do it. Just why not? And now here I am.
And that time of your life, were you already at your house too? Like, did you have a garage that you were easily able to transform, or were you makeshifting this? Yeah.
I had a bedroom. So we were living in our fixer-upper. And there was one very, very small bedroom in the back of the house. And I was using that bedroom, but I couldn't paint in there. So I was painting outside in the driveway. And you know how it is with the elements and painting. When I say it was a hot
stuff's flying through it, you got sand. You don't know why there's a piece of grass over here, a bug died there. Yeah.
Yep. And then you get a little spider that's stuck in the paint. Yeah. So it always a hot mess. We've been in this home for 2.5 years now.
Okay.
So I've only had a shop for 2.5 years now.
But look what you've done with that, because you went from what I think everybody starts making, right? We all start making some wall ornaments. Like you had the arrows, which were huge back then.
Yes, they were.
They were. Those were hot sellers. If you were making those, you were selling those. And then like the baby signs and like the younger kids' room signs. Like things we all kind of get our feet wet in, and then you found like your style. Like you started off with like your whole movement. I know, like with the Brown Girls, and you were trying to like get a whole series together, your first like big series, and I loved it. Like, and then you could see like now you're like, all right, I can cut it and shape it a little bit, but what if I go in now and I'm gonna add some real hair texture to this? Like, yeah, and then you've just been building. Like, I know I shared one of yours on Workbench Con, and people were like, wait, is that? Oh, is she using like cake equipment for this? Like a piping bag? And I'm like,
somebody on TikTok told me about that.
Hey, but that works. Like to bring that texture, like I can only imagine what you're going to be doing in like another year from now, you know, like what else are you going to be pushing for the boundaries?
Right. And that's something I'm always trying to do. Just keep pushing myself, because so those faces that I've been creating for the past month.
Your new sculptural ones.
Yeah. So I've been wanting to do some style of faces for a long time, but I just never knew what to do. Again, I didn't know how to draw. So I was like, I'm just going to figure this out. And so my girls, my 4 brown girls, they were the first people that I ever drew. And so I said, let me just start here and let me just keep building and building and see what I can do. And so this summer, I finally decided to tackle faces. I said, you know what, Kiera, you've been avoiding this long enough. Just try it. I know it seems daunting and challenging. Just try it.
The anxiety for doing, and it's always for me, noses too. Like, I feel like that is such a challenge. And I know you've been carving so many noses in so many different sizes right now.
Yes.
But yeah, there's a point where you have to face that fear, right? That's why I made that Bride of Chucky piece.
Oh, I love that piece so much.
Thank you. But I was very scared, like a whole doll face, 3-dimensional. I'm like, haha, I've never done that. Like, but sure, let's do that.
And it turned out amazing. But yes, like just going for it.
Yeah.
It's nerve-wracking for sure. But I'm learning that the more I practice, the better I get. Okay, because I've seen like when I first started in June, because I started working on faces in June on my iPad. From when I first started in June until now, I can clearly see like the difference in between how I used to draw versus now. And I'm like, Kiera, like if you just made this much progress now, you just have to keep going, keep pushing yourself, and you're gonna get to where you want to go and then beyond. So keep going, man.
The power of making yourself stick with something though, because it's so easy to quit and you always just want to. It's just like it's an easy out, but like pushing yourself to stay in that uncomfortable zone is really hard.
It is. I've wanted to quit many days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, nope, you said you're gonna do this full time, so this is what you're doing. But I've learned that. And my wife has helped me out a lot with this, because I just be all over the place sometimes. But she's like, okay, create this schedule and stick to the schedule. And so I'm really like trying to make sure that I'm not doing art all day. And that has actually helped out a lot. Because before I thought that if I'm doing art all day, then I have all this time and I'm getting better. But I realized that I was actually making myself more tired and creating this block in me because I'm trying to do it all day. And so now being on this schedule has really helped me to, I'm like, okay, I have these 4 hours to work on drawing, or I have these 4 hours to work in the shop. You knock these 4 hours out the best way you can, and then you walk away. And that's hard. It's so hard.
So what are you dividing your time with? So when you're not in the shop, what are you making yourself do? Like what's on the schedule?
So I'm also a real estate investor. My wife and I are real estate investors.
Oh, awesome.
So thanks. And
that's cool.
We are currently looking for our next investment property. And so I have time set aside for that. I have a puppy who I'm training. She will be 1 next month. Yeah, next month.
Cute.
I set aside time for her as well. And then my wife is a full-time tennis coach, so I'm her assistant. And so I have to set aside time to make all of her stuff, her social media stuff. I also have an Etsy shop, and so I set aside time to do that as well. So
I'm
it's
so glad I asked this. There's so many different things I didn't know you handled. No, seriously.
yeah. And I'm also so my wife is teaching me how to play tennis as well. And so I set aside time to learn the game of tennis because I want to start playing tennis around the city. They have like different small adult leagues around the
Oh,
city.
that's cool.
And so that's my goal, to be able to play next year. So she's been teaching me for, I think it's going on 2 years now. So I do a lot of things.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
nice like physical break though. Like even just going to be her assistant, I'm sure you're running around collecting a lot of balls. You know what I mean? So like you're getting like that's your active part of your day. That's cool. It's good to divide it up. I mean, not
Yeah.
that the shop is not active, but sometimes we could be sitting there shaping for a while.
And sweating.
Yeah. Just
Right. Especially when you get the sweat right here.
marks. Oh,
Oh my gosh. And I take off my mask, I'll be like, oh, okay.
this summer I broke out so much from the hot mask. I'm just like,
Oh my gosh.
I was like, one day I'll have a temperature controlled room. One day,
Right.
one
Same.
day. Yeah. Looks like will it
I
into
can't get ready.
existence, right? Believe it and it shall
Oh,
happen. That's how
yeah.
I feel about air conditioning and heat. Like I don't mind being cold, honestly, but there is
Mhm.
a point where it gets so cold in the winter and you're trying to be in your shop and you're trying to move a tool and you're just like, you know, unsafely shaking because you're that cold.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a little
Your
space
fingers are
heater I'll
frozen.
bring in, but that's not like the best idea when you're kicking up sawdust.
Right. I have two in my shop, and both of them are completely covered in dust. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you guys, and you have to bring them like, well, the ones that I have, because they're so small, you have to bring them like so close to your feet. I'll get up, forget that it's there, knock it
Kick
over.
it. Yeah.
Oh my God, this is too much.
Yeah. The things that we don't share on social media,
Right.
the things that make us angry all day.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
yep. Yep. I have a giant industrial fans that I use that I have to shut off every time I want to talk. So then when they're off, I'm just like dying and waiting to turn them back on. And I'm like trying to like be all peppy and do a Sabretooth video. Like, and this spur goes on here. And I'm like,
It's so hard.
when can I put this fan back on? That was me this summer. I was trying to like get out to the shop as early as possible. So like the true heat hadn't hit yet. And you're in Atlanta, so
Oh
it's
my
even
God.
worse, you know, like I've been there once in the summer and it was hot
It is
and,
hot.
and humid. Like it's humid here though too, sadly, but yeah.
It gets really hot here. So over the summer, I was like, I like you said, getting out into the shop early. I would do that and then take a break in the middle of the day and do all the other things, and then go back out later on because it was just way hot this
You
summer.
got to avoid like that peak, the
Yep.
peak heat time. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
You're like, in 2 hours,
Right.
I'll be able to go out there again.
Right. That's right now. And I'm trying to like go out midday, and as soon as I walk in, I'm like, nope, it is too hot. And
Are
then
you painting in the shop too, or do you have another
I
space?
am.
Oh,
No,
okay, yeah. So it's
yeah.
there's no escape, no matter what you're doing. It's in that whether it's hot or cold. Okay.
Yep. And that's another thing that I'm really looking forward to it once we do, because we do plan on selling this house in the next year and a half or so. And I want to have a separate space to paint, because I'm like, I have to cut everything and then sand everything and then wait till all the dust settles and then paint. And I was like, that's just too much. I want to be able to cut something and then something over here is drying while I'm cutting something else. Because moving it into the house, I no.
It's a
I don't like-
pain. Like I'm
Yeah.
in my basement and it's on the complete opposite side of the garage. So whenever I need to do stuff, I have to either go around the house to bring it in, or come through the back porch and do like this little wiggle dance maneuver around the furniture and then go through like 10 doors to get in the house, you know? So like it is a pain. Like I had to have my husband carry Tiff down all around. Like I'm like, she's 48 pounds. And then I'm bringing her with me to New York for Maker Camp. And like, cause Sabertooth's like, you think you could bring Tiff with you? And I'm like, I can, but she's gonna be heavy. I'm gonna need help loading her in and out of the car. I was like, she's not staying outside all day.
Right.
I was like, because she's not sealed on the bottom. I'm not gonna have to have her on blankets and stuff, taking care of her all weekend.
Right. No, don't touch her.
Please don't touch the necklace and the breast assist. Okay.
You're right.
I know it's tempting and I've touched them, but you can't.
Right. I love that.
It was the hardest part of the sculpture.
I'm sure.
Everyone kind of making jokes like mine aren't even either, Tiffany. I'm like, I know, but I want them to be like semi-even. Like,
right.
Sheesh.
Oh gosh, I'm sure I've never I tried to do a little bit. There was a Lizzo piece that I made and I tried to do a little bit with the breast shaping, but I said, nope, I'm not even gonna let that be the focus. I'm gonna bring her shirt up a little bit and she'll just have a little divot right there because oh my gosh.
I was like, let's show that big V cut.
Yeah. And you did. You
gotta
did.
be true to the character. She likes to show off the ladies. So
she does. So how did you achieve that?
I literally just kind of kept at it. I made sure that when I made the block for the piece, I didn't carve any of the area for the chest and I left that last. And I just kept bringing the shirt down to try to get that. And then I kept bringing the chest up. So I kept making like this reverse V-ish type of thing. And then eventually I started working in on those ladies. And then I moved the line several times. I did bring her shirt up a little bit, a tiny bit, because it looked too vulgar. I'm like, this is something I'm making for a contest and I have to share it on the Sabertooth page, not just my page. So I'm like, eh. And then the nice part is her necklace kind of went right on it. So it kind of like made it not look too obvious.
Right.
But like that's the character. And like I was laughing at my husband when Sabertooth approved it. I was like, they don't know about these boobs I'm about to carve, honey. They do not know. Because in my mind, that's exactly what it was gonna look like. That was gonna be the focus of the piece.
The boobs.
Yes, as they should be.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was a really fun piece to do. Are you thinking about going 3-dimensional even more? Like you're already leaking there. Are you trying to stay more wall hangings? It is a big choice.
I'm considering it.
Yeah.
Not for everything though.
Oh no, me neither. It's so much work.
I know. And now so I'm like, okay, no, I'm gonna have to pick and choose. I've been working on the faces that I've been making were actually accidental. So I was practicing drawing eyes and noses and mouths, right? And so I was like, well, let me just print a couple of them out and just see what happens. And so as I'm prepping them for printing, I noticed that almost all of them have like this square background. I was like, wait a minute. And so I took on my iPad, I took a pen and I just drew a square in the background and it was a random color. I think it was blue. And I drew a square in the background, colored in blue. I said, oh, wait, this actually looks like a nice square face. And I love squares. Don't know why, but I really love squares. And so I said, I think I can make this something. And so I was shaping my first one. And then once I finished it, I really, really liked it. And I was like, okay, let me keep trying this. And so then it just kind of happened. And now they're gonna be a thing. But the whole idea was to draw these faces so that I can start making characters. And now I'm like, okay, well, now I have to have them as they're called the We Tide crew. That's what they're called. It's a whole thing. Like now I have to have my We Tide crew people to go with my other group of people that I have not introduced to the world yet. They're my We Tide crew people. The elegant people.
The elegant.
Yes, the elegant we tacker people.
Okay.
And those will be like my statement pieces. And so the faces that I'm making now are more like my fun and creative pieces. And then the other ones are more like my serious statement pieces, but still very so much fun and bold and exciting. So that's what
mixing florals in there still, or yes? Okay.
Yeah.
I figured for the elegant ones, they'd have a little floral flair.
Yeah. Some of them will be paint splatter. What other backgrounds? Oh, I had textured backgrounds as well. So it's a bunch of different ones that I'm working on right now, but it's all digital right now. The face my first face that I made previously, I did not give her a name, but she was like my first test face. And so just to see like what I like about shaping faces, what I don't like about shaping faces, how can I get better at it? And so yeah, I have a whole collection of people that I've been working on my iPad, and
I love it.
I don't know when, but one day.
Well, you're balancing a lot, it sounds like. And that's really cool, though. I think real estate is a really smart business to have as a side business, or even as your main business and doing the art as a side. Like that balance is nice because there's an investment that you're doing, that you're building your future there, but you're also being free and creative over here and also building your future. Like,
Right.
It's both shaping you and it's helping you have some cash flow as well, but also lots of other activities that you have to do with that. But
yeah, real estate is a lot.
I grew up, both my parents are landlords, so I get it. Like I grew up in that scene. Yeah, they owned apartment buildings, and it was constant. Like it's not like they were like these crazy wealthy people who had all these apartment buildings. Like they bought them so they could build a family, and they were maintaining them by themselves. So my dad was constantly on holidays. I gotta go. Somebody's plumbing's broke. I gotta go. Somebody just let the pipes burst, and I gotta go. Someone caught their thing on fire. Like my poor dad, always running. But they were able to build a really good future for themselves, So it's a smart. They're trying to get me into it too. Eventually I will be, I'm sure.
Worth it.
But right now, 100%. Right now, I'm like, let me just like focus on this part of my life and figure out what that's going to be. Because one of the things I'm sure the hardest things is when you are a full-time maker, it's what am I doing with this? Like, where should I go? Where do I want to go? And like, what do I want to make? What kind of products do I want to create? Like, I'm sure that tears you up constantly.
All the time. When I first started, like you said, we were making name signs, we were making home decor, and I knew that wasn't where I was supposed to be, but I knew that that's where I was supposed to be at that moment.
Oh, 100%.
That wasn't for the future though, right? And so I was like, okay, when is going to be a good time to let that go? And then I'm in my head, it'll never be a good time. I need to keep making these. This is how I'm going to make money. I was like, but I'm not happy doing these. These are
you end
not
up getting a clientele, right? You end up getting this clientele from that because those things do sell.
Right.
But then you realize those people want a lot for a little, and then it's draining and it's exhausting, and like they always want the same price that you gave them 2 years ago type of situation. And it's not a fun place to be in.
It's not. And I've had some clients where they're like, well, can you make this? Can you make that? And I'm like, yes, this, but you're adding extra to it. So that's going to cost you extra. Well, that's not the price you quoted for me in the beginning. Well, because you're adding to it. So when you add to it, guess what? That makes extra work. That's extra material. So therefore,
you have to explain all of that.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh man, it came with a lot of things that I just was not happy with. And I was happy with creating, but the constant back and forth of, I don't want this, I want that. But I'm like, because I used to give people 3 chances to make decisions to their design, right? And so those 3 chances will come and go. They're satisfied with the design. Here I'm in the moment, I'm creating, I'm doing this, and I'll get an email. Actually, can you change this? What? No, we talked about this. I've already started the process. But I think that people want what they want,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not really sure what they want at sometimes too. So when you try to guide them to it, sometimes they'll be like, yeah, that's what I want. And then they were like, no, that's not
They
what I
think
want.
about it. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
And it's too much. And I knew, like I said, I knew that that's not where I was supposed to be in the future. And so I said, well, why not just start with art as soon as you quit? And so that's what I did. And it was definitely challenging to do because I knew I would be losing that clientele. But at the same time, it's been the most rewarding because I keep pushing myself more and more, and I've grown so much with my art since I've decided to stop doing business logos.
Completely changed.
Yeah.
And you're building like a community around it too. And that's what I've been noticing. Like you said, like the Black Girl art events that you've been attending and all of those things, you're developing this local community, which you don't get. I mean, you get that somewhat when you're making customs, but this way you're influencing so many more people and you're having an actual impact. Like you were saying, there's a little girl came back and recognized your piece, you know, and that was a big deal to her, and she wanted to see herself again. You know?
That's important to me because I want to make sure that my art is showing people that, hey, anything you want to do, you can. And the We Tired crew is basically like, yes, I know that we're tired. I know that, you know, society, there's a lot of social injustices that's happening right now, but we have to keep fighting. We have to keep going. We have to keep creating. We have to keep making. We have to keep encouraging others. We have to keep doing all these things, even though we're tired. And that's why I'm choosing to do bold colors, because bold colors just, you know, you get so much energy from it, excitement. And it's just like, wow. And so I want people to say, you know what, I'm looking at this face. I see that this person is tired, but they still look kind of happy. So that tells me, like, you know what? Yes, I'm tired, but I got to keep going because this is something bigger than me here. And I tell myself that every day, like, this is way bigger than me. I'm just here to create and to be happy creating.
I love this.
And what you get from my art is what you get. And hey, I hope this makes you happy. And it usually does. When I go to shows in person, social media is a give or take. You know, you get people to engage, you get people that don't engage. You know, sometimes you only get 10% of your followers.
I was going to say a lot of people don't see it, sadly, so they can't engage.
Right.
Like I was dying. I've been following you and we've been talking for years, right? I'm scrolling your page. I'm like, I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this. I haven't seen. I'm like, what the hell? I missed like 6 months. Like, wow.
Same with you. And when you pop up again, I was like, oh, hey, where's she been?
Yeah.
Same thing. And I have that issue with a lot of my followers too. And so I'm like, that's why doing shows in person is important for me. And so I've been applying for another show for this, 2 shows for the rest of this year. And then next year, I'll be doing a whole lot more shows. So and that's another reason why I've been like really going in the shop, because I'm really trying to make sure I have enough inventory for these shows, because some of these shows are 3 days.
Yeah, and the right kind of inventory. Like I'm sure you have old pieces that you have, but you don't want you want to have your new showcase. You want to have your series. You want to have people know what you're currently up to. I get it, because I'm just have like a pile of art over here that I'm trying to sell, and I've got I'm like, I don't want to post them because I don't want people to see them again. It's a real,
because I'm like,
it's a real tough situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to buy this piece.
But
I also have some art I made for a show many years ago that means nothing to me. And I'd like that to get sold first.
I still want you to buy it. Like, look at this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a struggle. Like if you have done that, and not everybody has. Some people have just making like the same awesome stuff the whole time, and they don't have that collection from shows. But when you do,
I do.
It's hard to unload.
It is. I have this other art show that's happening, but it's more so in a gallery setup, and so it'll be sitting. I think it's from October to November, and so I've been trying to like push my older pieces to shows like that, ones that I don't have to be present for.
Yeah,
like,
that's
I
nice.
want you to buy this art, but at the show that I'm going to be at, this is what I want you to
Yeah.
see.
You're
This
gonna
is where
see
I'm
it.
at right now.
This,
Yeah,
all this
right.
gorgeous texture. Yeah, like
Right.
bright colors. This is what I
Yeah,
want
like,
you to
look at
see.
you
Yeah.
gotta look closely. Look at the paint. You
Yeah.
see
You don't even know how much better this is than my old stuff.
right. I just had recently had to fix one of my very first pieces. And when I met the lady, I went to her and we met at a park actually. And when I was looking at it, I was like, wow. So I told her, I said, I have really come a long way. And she was like, what? I said, this piece was one of my first ones that I made. I said, compared to what I can do now, it's just beyond me. And she was like, but this is still very amazing. And I was like, well, okay, if you say so. She's like, no, seriously. She said, coming from someone who doesn't know anything about woodworking, this is phenomenal. I'm like, okay, girl. She said, and a lot of people think that about your work. It's phenomenal. She said, we can't do it. And I'm like, okay, all right, cool, thanks. But for me, seeing it from my perspective, I can see like where I didn't sand well enough, or I can see how I could have added some more primer here, and then it would have been a little bit smoother. So it's interesting with those older pieces. I love them, I do, but yeah.
For me, it's those spots where I should have stopped painting, but I kept going and I overworked it. I'm like, if I just left that how it used to look.
And no one knows that but you.
No, exactly. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, you don't know.
Right.
There was a point I should have stopped.
Right.
But I'm beyond that now. That's awesome. So like you have all these crazy things going on. You've picking up a whole new sport. Like you're doing it sounds like a pretty damn good job balancing that all out. Like I think the schedule has helped you out. The wife has pointed you in the right direction.
It's because like even with teaching, I've always been like all over the place, even though I have a schedule, because teaching, they throw so much at you. And I think that's where I got my all over the place thing, because they give you a schedule, right? And then they'll say, oh, no, actually, we want you to do this at 12 o'clock instead of doing what we told you to do at 12 o'clock. And so you had to be flexible. So when I first quit, and my wife was like, hey, you know, I want a new business logo. Can you make me a new business logo? And in my brain, you just told me something. Let me go do that instead of let me stick to what schedule I created and see where I can squeeze you in. Because during teaching, if they tell you to do something, they expect you to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And they don't care what the schedule was before. They don't care about, oh, well, you may have had this plan for your lesson plan. No. If we say you need to implement this by next week, well, I already did my plans for next week. Oh, well. Yeah. So I was still working with that mentality. And so when she tells me, oh, I want to create a new business logo, here's a new business logo by tomorrow, I can't keep doing that. And I knew that that wasn't going to work for me. And it wasn't working for me, even though I was still getting stuff out. It wasn't flowing very well. And so this schedule has truly helped me. And I feel like I can do more with this schedule than what I was doing before. So that's great. But I'm always super exhausted by the end of the day.
I think it's because you're probably not burning yourself out with one thing too much.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're constantly mixing it up. Because like I spent the whole day doing computer work, and like when I got up for an hour just to go and play with these beautiful new storage containers I got from Sustainer, we'll just do a little shout out. I was just playing with them. I've never touched something so pretty and nice, and it's actually mine. But like that felt so good. Like I'm in there and I'm like playing around. I'm opening up these containers. I'm adding some inserts. I'm like, oh. And then I'm like, oh, I needed this. Like I needed this break. I needed to get up and do something physical and look at something shiny for a moment, you know?
Right. Yeah, and that helped, especially having a dog. It's been very helpful knowing that, oh, you know what, and having a puppy to be exact, because she needs to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, a lot.
And so, right. And so making sure that I take that time to step outside and get a breath of fresh air. Right, thanks. That's been important, especially on priming and painting days, because it can get very fumy in there. So it's been helpful having a schedule. It works. So if you don't have a schedule, do it.
I still don't have a perfect one, but I do try to like, I've got boundaries. Like in the summer with the kids, I was taking a 2-hour break midday because I noticed if I didn't, they would be just too antsy having that much time, like alone time. Like literally,
Right.
I was down here or up in the garage and they were playing video games, drawing, painting, whatever, all day by themselves, you know, and me going, you good? You need a snack? You good?" Like, so like by like 2 o'clock, they were just like good, they're done. So from 12 to 2, I decided to take a break. And then after that, they were like ready to go back and they were refreshed. So like I had to find a way to make that work. And I do kind of a very like a very different schedule when they're in school. Like I try to sneak down for a little bit, for like a half hour, just to get myself like organized for the morning, bring them to school, and then like I have like a little block before I have to go get them from school. So it's like, what can you get done in this time?
Right.
They're like, oh, you've got 5 hours, go, you know. And that kind of like motivates me because I'm always like fighting the clock. Like I'm always looking at timers because I always have hard stops in my day. So I'm like, okay.
Right.
So
and I don't do too well with hard stops.
I know.
Do well with hard stops.
Twice a day, hard stop, boom.
Yeah.
Yep.
So do you prefer summer or school time?
I mean, 100% school time. No offense to my children, but
understood.
I couldn't get anything done. My focus was so bad, and like my anxiety just from knowing I couldn't get it done because they're 7 and they're twins. So it's the same age. They're constantly fighting, and you know, why do you have to be smarter than the other one? Like, why do you have to just keep fighting about who's the smartest? Like, that's our biggest battle.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I taught kindergarten and first grade. Those were my ages. So I completely understand where you are right now.
They're in second grade now, but yes, 7.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's September.
Yeah, they just got in second. Yeah. Yep. What were you teaching? Was it just like general everything?
Yeah.
Okay. Just like my sister. Okay.
So my last 2 years, I had they have like what you call the gifted class where you have kids who haven't necessarily been in gifted yet, but they're like getting ready to go to that level. And then you have kids who have special needs. And so I had that classroom my last 2 years, which is very, very stressful, but also very enjoyable at the same time. But just general ed. So I taught everything. I was everything, every hat. Yeah.
It's
and
a
then
lot.
I was PTA lead as well. And that a whole lot. I was so it started out with a committee and then it just ended up being me. And so that was a lot. And I was like, nope, I can't do this anymore. This is just no.
I worked in corporate America before I went full time. And I used to be head of the Celebrate Us committee, which I ran 2 buildings, all of their special, like all the special things, like, you know, it's Associated Appreciation Week. And then I planned out every single event that was going to happen and the food truck. And I got the ice cream place. They're going to come at this time. Like I did all that shit on top of my job. So I totally get it. And I had to manage people. I had to manage budgets. I had to get funding. Like it was a whole thing, and then still do my job.
Right.
I quit when I had children. It's like, use that
for you.
I am not on that committee anymore.
Right. It's a lot. And they don't pay you extra for it because you're doing this out of the goodness of your heart. And so you're like, yes, of course. And then they're like, okay, here, do this. And I'm like, whoa, okay, wait, this is too much. Oh yeah.
And then people complain because it's never enough. So
man, the amount of things that have happened during teaching is just mind blowing. I tell people all the time, if you're going to quit teaching, you're going to need some time to heal from it because teaching has a lot of traumas in itself because of the demands that they put on you, and they don't give you time to meet those demands. But if you don't meet those demands, then it's a problem. And it makes you feel like you're not good enough, even though you know you're putting your best foot forward and you know you're giving your kids 110%. But then here you have these people who never stepped foot in a classroom, who's never taught kids ever in their life, trying to tell you what to do. And I'm like, wait, but you've never done this before.
And then I'm
What do
also
you
thinking,
mean?
I don't know about the district of where you're teaching, but I'm from Springfield, Mass. We're from a very diverse area. And for my sister, her problems are just like the sadness of hearing stories from the kids and their families and the things that are going on at home. So then you have that
Yeah.
pressure to, knowing these kids aren't eating or their parents are
Yep.
neglecting them. So yeah, I'm sure you needed a lot of
All of
time to
that.
heal. Yeah. So
Mhm.
it's a mixture. Like my sister's been teaching for 18 years now. So I've been hearing it for a
So
very
you
long
know,
time. I understand.
yeah,
Yeah. I don't
yeah,
have to do it. I've never been in those shoes, but
but you
I
hear it.
hear. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. And for all the teachers out there, like I'm always like, I understand. I'm here for you. If you ever need to vent, just let me know. Like I get it. It's a lot. And they get a lot of teachers get a bad rep on social media, talk about teachers don't care about kids nowadays, blah, 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 because the only teachers that get put on blast are the ones that's doing wrong. But you never see you blasting and celebrating a teacher that's doing
Yeah.
well. And so the world, society in itself does not really respect the profession as much, and it's unfortunate because we're literally teaching people that will be taking care of us when we're older.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so important. They're going to continue our legacy. And so teachers, I love y'all. Like keep doing it. You got this. Or leave if you want to. It's okay.
But I think it's funny because you did leave, but you do still want to, still have that in your life a little bit. But I get it. Like
Just a little bit.
the fun part, like
Right.
let me
Right. I love
expose you to these experiences for the first
right.
time. Like,
Exactly.
mm-hmm,
I don't want to do all that extra stuff. Like I don't. And so hopefully I get to interact with kids. And then when I do have another shop, that's the idea, to have like a section where I can teach kids how to scroll, or teach them, maybe they don't want to learn how to scroll. Maybe they want to learn how to build a table. I can teach you how to do that. I made my bed frame. So I can still like build things, right? But I just choose
oh
not to
yeah,
build things.
mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, if you don't want to learn how to scroll, that's fine. Let me teach you how to build this table. Let's do that. Just having that space just for them. That's what I want to do in the future, though, on my own time.
You're still healing. You still have a lot of healing to
Right.
do. You need a good 5 years of that.
Exactly.
Plus, you've got to explore what you want to design and create. I feel like that's important. I know when I stopped taking customs, it was probably like 3 years ago. Now I'll still take them here and there, maybe if it's the right kind of order. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when I started experimenting, like with, this piece down here, which, that 12 months of experimenting where I like, you guys choose the theme and I'll create the art. That was amazing. Like I had so much fun. Now, did I navigate them towards themes? Yes. But like I did not get to choose the final theme or the sayings. Like I did. It was so fun, just like freeing myself up and just getting there and being creative, so you need those experiences.
Yes, this past summer has definitely been one of the best times that I've had with art. I've been able to just explore and try different things. And I was talking to one of my art friends. Her name is Vanna Black, and she's an amazing artist. She does a lot of colorful art landscape murals.
Oh, okay.
And she was just telling me, she said, art is just about exploration. And she said, I just encourage you to explore and to try things out. See if it works. If it works, great. If it doesn't, that's okay. Try something else. And so this summer, I've really been trying things out a lot. And that has been fun, because before it was like, if I mess up on this I got to do it all over again. It has to be perfect. But with these, they don't have to be perfect. I can just create with no restrictions, just do it. And it's been great. It really has.
I
It's
feel like
been,
that's why I love carving so much. It's free.
yeah. But there's so many carvings that pop up in my explore page because I'm always looking at them. I feel like I eventually will do it at some point, but they're so fascinating to see how people can take this log literally and make it into this thing. It's amazing.
It's crazy.
It really is. So
I see it every
kudos to
day
you.
to where it feels like it's common to me, but it's so not because of saber tooth. Like I see it all day. The guy's like, "Oh, let me just get my chainsaw." You see this woman pop up with this thing, and you're like,
I just be like, wow, did you just do that?
yeah,
I'm always so amazed.
it is. It's amazing. Like just watching everything transform. I think it's like that's the most addicting part of it is that
Mhm.
you're watching yourself manually do this. Like it's fun using a CNC, and having it do it for you, but I still have to take that off and now manipulate it myself before I feel like it's mine. Like I
Right.
can't just like that's probably why I'm so resistant to just like making products, like having ashtrays, having rolling trays, having this tray. You know what I mean? Like all the damn trays, like because it's just like, oh, but anyone could do that. Like, what's special about it for me? Like, what does it stand apart that it says Tiff made this tray?
Right, same. And that's something that I also have a hard time with because I'm like, okay, I don't want to keep making the same thing over and over and over again. With my faces, I can keep making them over and over and over again, but I can change them. And it's not like you go to like this sign someone gifted my wife. I don't want to make this
Yeah.
over and over and
Yep.
over again. It's
It'll,
cute.
and
It's
it sells, and
right, but that's making money off my art is not my main priority. And I think when I made that shift in my mind as to where your art does not have to be your money maker, I think that's where I became more free and that took that pressure. I still want my art to make money. Yes,
oh no,
absolutely.
I get you.
I want to make
But
all the money that
you
I
have
can.
yourself in the right position by having other things that bring in income. My
Exactly.
art also is not the thing that's making me money right now. I'm doing social media work to make money. I'm posting things, and that's what's bringing the bills. The art is the bonus money,
Right.
the money that I need, but it don't really. If I don't sell anything, I'll be okay.
Right.
But I
And
do want it to be the main thing, though. One day,
exactly.
I do. I
Exactly.
really do.
Same.
I'm biting
Same.
time at the moment.
And even when it's like the main thing, it's still not like a whole bunch of pressure behind it, right? So I want it to be to that point where it's like, oh, my art is the main money. I wasn't aware because it just kind of flowed like that. Oh, okay, that's cool now. I want to get to that point, but taking that pressure off has been super rewarding because I've been able to really just kind of flow into that creativity and making money other ways. That's important. My dad used to say that all the time. Make money in multiple ways. Got you. Okay, I will do that.
That's good though. You had somebody preaching that to you, like I listen to a lot of like side hustle podcasts that talk about that. And that's why I don't just work for one company. I work for two different companies. And then I also have my own things, because I know always look for a different avenue. I'm going to a Vermont Viking village on Thursday, and I'm going to go talk to a guy who owns this place, tour his property, and maybe take over his social media and start booking events there. Like the most random of things. Yes.
Right. A Viking village.
I'm going to on Thursday. I'm just going to hop on over to Vermont. I'm going to go to a Viking village for the day. And then I'm going to come home and sing happy birthday to my dog because it's her birthday. She turns 14.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
But it's just so funny, like where my career could take me. I visited Shar. She was up from Atlanta in Vermont at this place called Hatch Space. And
Mm-hmm.
now I'm teaching there next month because Shar talked me up when I visited her, and she told the owner and she told the guy who was booking stuff, you got to go. You got to know my friend Tiff. She's a master carver. She does this. She does this. She not only does that, but she does this. And I'm like,
That's great.
Shar. I'm like, you
Thanks,
are
thanks,
amazing.
Shar. Right.
You know, but that connection now got me connected to another thing, like where I'm going to this Viking village. And I don't know if that's going to lead to anything, but I've been listening to so many people that have succeeded where they just say yes to opportunities, even if they don't go and actually take that on, but just say yes to the meeting. Like it's going to be an hour of me driving north, right? For maybe this will lead to something, maybe this won't. But if I don't go do this, it's never going to lead to anywhere. Like this thing could change my life. You don't know. You know, so I'm saying yes to the opportunity. I talked to the guy first, so it wouldn't be so skeevy. I mean,
right.
Gonna go meet up some random dude named Brian on Thursday. But if this podcast comes out, you know I survived the experience.
Right.
But I'm like, you know what? Obviously, the guy from Hatchbase thought I'd be a good fit for this. Right. So it makes sense to go check this out, you know?
Right.
So
right. Yeah. Saying yes, that one moment could change your life. Yeah.
Yep. So if you see Viking art, you know what's up.
Right. I hope that it works out for you. I really do.
What's Tiff carving today? She's making a dragon? What's going on?
Right. I'm like, oh, I know.
Well, I want to say thank you for coming on, but also like it's been so fun getting to know you over the years. Just I laugh because we don't have like this big DM history. We have just been talking through post for years now. And it's just funny because I was like, wait, how do I feel like I know her so much more than I do? And I'm like, oh wait, because we're just honestly just going back and forth. Yeah.
Yes, that's it.
And people like talk about how can I build a community? How can I make friends in this maker community? It's literally just talking to each other about what you're creating. I always tell people, find something that you really like in a piece that somebody made and compliment it. Like that's like the perfect way to start talking. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And I, with social media, again, I've been trying to figure out this whole schedule thing, right? And I'm like, okay, I need to get back into commenting and liking and posting.
It's so hard.
It's a lot. It is a whole lot, because then you start commenting, you start posting, and then 30 minutes have passed by and you're like, oh man, I'm supposed to be doing X, Y, and Z. And so it's a journey, but I'm trying. And yeah, that's exactly how I built the community that I do have now.
Yeah.
Just like, oh girl, that's cute. Oh, I like that. Oh my God. That's so beautiful. Yeah, just that. So thank you for having me, though. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. I've been wanting this for a while, so I'm glad we made this happen. And now I feel like our DMs will be starting to fill up more because
right.
There's nothing like an hour of just chatting with somebody with no distractions. How often do you do that? Like, how long has it been since you've picked up your phone? You know, it sat there dormant for 1 hour. Like, amazing.
Right.
This is why I do this. Like this refreshes me. Like I love podcasting because it makes me focus on something. And it's also why I love power carving, I think too. I have to pay attention to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Or else I'm about to get hurt.
Right. Like, and that's what scrolling is the same thing. Like I have to pay attention.
All right. I'll let you go, but thank you again for coming on.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
Okay. All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed getting to know Kiera. She is, like I said in the beginning, amazing, and I really love the way she supports other makers. Again, just by commenting and getting to know each other. It's been really cool for these last, I don't even know how long, like I should totally look, 4 or 5 years that we've been following each other and getting to actually talk with her, which is huge. Upcoming events. So I have just started hosting private lessons at my house. If I know you and we have a rapport in your local to New England area, let me know. These are for the more extensive classes, like we just did the Beetlejuice carving. So if there's something you really want to carve, but you want me to hold your hand the way through it, let me know. Another way, I'll be doing another class in Hatchbase in Vermont. That's going to be an intro to power carving. And I think this one's going to be bowls. I've gotten some feedback. People want to play with a bowl, so we'll do that. And then we'll actually have one for spoons as well. And again, these are just basic techniques that I'll be showing you, and then you'll be able to go ahead and create whatever you want afterwards. If you want to help support me, and it's not a power carving thing, and I totally get that, grab yourself some great gear. Carhartt has amazing sales happening right now for Black Friday and all the other holiday stuff, so check that out. And I have some more affiliate links in my bio. You could always go to my website, grab some great art that I have up there. They make great gifts, I'm just saying. Or send a gift. All right, guys. Thanks again for listening and have a wonderful day. I have a Workench Con episode coming to us next week, so be excited for that.